remember my mum just giving me just a couple tips when, kids were teasing me. First of all, to ignore them. And I knew that was impossible, but she meant just ignore what they were saying as far as what they meant by it. Not believing the lies that I'm not good enough, not believing that, that they're right, because they don't know who I am, really. I mean, it's not about what you can do or how you look, it's who you are.
Cherie Long is Nick's fellow school captain. Together they say they can make a difference.
I think we'll be great school captains, and I think we'll make a better place.
And when people were staring at me, and I'd go up to Mum and say that they're teasing me, she said, well, look, just start talking. She said, just start talking. I'm like, well, what's that gonna do? And she explained to me that, people when they see me for the first time, they don't know, what sort of, who I am. They don't know if I can talk to them. They don't know what I can do. They don't know if I'm, quote, normal, like they are. And, one of the phrases that, my mum repeated is that you're normal just without arms and legs. There was definitely some anger, though, in my childhood. What happened? Why me? God must have made a mistake. God's got a plan for him, I can understand that. God's got a plan for her, I can understand that. What is he going to do with me? What purpose is he going to fulfill through this? This is so, it just didn't make sense. It just didn't make sense to me. And he didn't answer me. No one knew why I was born this way. I mean, we went to some specialists and doctors and went over x-rays and did so many tests, but they found out that everything else is normal and we cannot explain why your son was born without arms and legs. And I thought to myself, well, maybe God's going to heal me at age 15. And I was thinking about this, and it was just a normal Sunday morning, doing the Bible class, and we read about the story of how Jesus is going through a village and they bring to his attention a man who was born blind. And, many people asked Jesus, why was this man born blind? Was it because of his sin that he's born this way? Or was it because of his parents' sin that he was born this way? And that was the question that I had. Did I do something wrong to deserve this? What did my parents do to deserve this? I mean, not only were they believers, they planted a church 11 months before I was born. Why would God, quote, dishonor that or overlook that? But Jesus said it wasn't because of any of that. It was done so that the works of God may be revealed through him. This blind man was born without his sight for a reason, so that people would see my work in him. And Jesus spits in the dirt, makes a sort of clay, puts it on the man's eyes, and goes tell him to wash in the river, and he comes back seeing. And I'm like, I just said a simple prayer. I said, God, you know what? If you have a plan for the blind man, then you have a plan for me. Whatever these works are, yes, I am here, heal me. If that's what your will is, if that's what your plan is, do it. I'm open to that, obviously. But I also said this, I said, God, if it's not your will, that I would be made whole physically. Thank you for the peace of knowing that you know my pain, you know my future, you know the plans you have for me, and I trust you today. This peace, like I felt like a tangible wave of this peace and faith and comfort and reassurance that God knew what he was doing came over me. I always thought that something had to change in my life. I had the list of if onlys. If only these things would happen in my life, then I would feel like I have a purpose. Then I feel like God could use me. And that if only was if only I had arms and legs. Then that miracle could be shown to the world. And people would see, wow, you know, God is real. He really does have a plan and a hope and a future for your life. That all things really do come together for the good for those who love him. That God's grace is sufficient. And I thought that that miracle had to take place before people would see that. Jesus is the healer, yes, that he can do miracles. God can do all things. But don't underestimate the power of him saying no to our plan. Because I had a plan, you know, God give me arms and legs. But the perfection in him saying no to that prayer is something that I can cherish for the rest of my life. In fact, I cherish the fact that he said no to my prayer of him miraculously giving me arms and legs. I cherish it so much that I don't even pray about having arms and legs anymore. Because I've found my purpose. I found the purpose in my circumstance. I think more people have a disability than they think. I don't know what you think my disability is, or what my disability was as I grew up. But I can definitely see that the greatest disability that I had was not that I have no arms, no legs. The greatest disability was your mindset, your choices that you made. You see, if I chose to give up, and if I chose to put aside and not listen to the encouragement that I had from my parents and everybody around me, and I chose to, I'm just going to go in the corner, feel sorry for myself. There are people with arms and legs who do that. And that's the greatest disability of all, to give up, to not try, to not be discouraged when you fail at doing something, to believe the lies that you're not good enough, to believe the lies that there is not a life out there worth living for you. That's the greatest disability of all.
Enter. We're gonna go into the enter.
We are here.
Good timing.
The way that I am now, people see that I have real struggles, real challenges, real circumstances, but they also see that I have real victory, I have real joy, and I have real strength. And no one can argue with that. And that's the great victory. When you can put your faith in God's grace, in God's plan for you, even when you don't understand. That's more than a conqueror. A conqueror is someone who defeats and overcomes a circumstance. But more than a conqueror is already having victory over something that's still there in your life as a circumstance. And you didn't have to do a thing. But it's that change of the Holy Spirit that comes in your heart that gives you that ability and transformation as more than a conqueror. God can use your circumstance and will, if we submit to him, use your circumstance to encourage somebody else, even if they're not in the same circumstance. And there were times where I sort of looked at my life and thinking, well, I can't do this and I can't do that. And you keep on concentrating on the things that you wish you had or the things that you wish you didn't have. And you sort of forget what you do have. And there's no point, I believe, in my life where I wish I had arms and legs, I wish I had arms and legs, I wish I had arms and legs, because wishing won't help. But what I've seen in life are just a couple key principles, and the first thing that I've seen is to be thankful. It's hard to be thankful, man. I tell you, when I was 8 years old, I sort of summed up my life and thought, I'm never going to get married, I'm not going to have a job, I'm not going to have a life of purpose. What kind of a husband am I going to be if I can't even hold my wife's hand? It's a lie to think that you're not good enough. It's a lie to think that you're not worth anything. Woo! freezing. I can't feel my hands.
I love life. You know, so many people come and say, how come you smile so much? And I'm like, well, it's a long story. But it's very simple at the same time. You see, it's very hard to smile sometimes in life. There are things that happen that you don't know and you don't understand, and you don't know if you're going to get through it. You know, you go through your storms in life and you don't know how long this storm's going to be. And today I want to share with you some principles that I've learned in my life that you can use in yours.